Okay, so we welcome you all to today's class. So as you all know, this class is powered by Transformation College of Business and Technology, and we have various programs that will be running, and some of them has already been running for this year, right? So we have the likes of, can you see my screen, please? Hello?
Yes, we can.
Yes, yes.
Thank you so much. So for the programs that we have for this year, we have Entrepreneurship and Business Management Program. This is currently ongoing. Diploma in Information System, it's currently ongoing and it happens every Saturday from the hours of 10 to 1 p.m. So we encourage everyone on this call, if you have someone that you want him or her to partake in this program, please feel free to reach out to us and we will send the registration link to the person to register. And then we have AI Business Analyst, which is the class that is currently ongoing. We also have AI and Automation Specialist, which is currently ongoing. So these two classes, AI Business Analyst and AI and Automation Specialist, happens on Friday. And these programs happen twice every month. So sorry, not twice every month. It happens every Friday. So we encourage every one of you to always come to class on time. Please do not keep your trainer waiting. All right. Thank you so much for that. And then if you are on the call, as you are joining us, please fill up the attendance. Titi, please share the attendance form link in the chat room. Please share the attendance form link in the chat room. All right. So today we will be talking about advanced Babok, and the topic for today is strategic and business analysis. So by the end of today's class, I believe that you learn how to strategically coordinate your business, and also you will have the knowledge of business analysis. Furthermore, before we go ahead, this course that you are in, you are supposed to make a registration fee of 10,000 naira only. And then as well, at the completion of the course and you want to get your certificate, you will need to pay the sum for registration, 40,000 naira, which is payable when you want to get your certificate, 40,000 naira. Excuse me, please. So I believe that we have taken those information. And then at the end of this class too, we will need you to fill up the feedback form. We would love to hear your feedbacks concerning to this class. This will help us to improve more on our course and our service delivery. So without further ado, we have our trainer who has been patiently waiting for every one of us. He's on the call. He's none other than Francis Obeng. Francis is a management system consultant at PSE. Ladies and gentlemen, with a clapping ovation in the chat room, please let's welcome our trainer for today in the person of Francis Obeng. Francis, you are welcome to class today.
Thank you. Thank you, Mercy.
Take it off from. Yes.
Thank you. Um, Good morning, everyone, and welcome for today's lesson. My name is Francis Obeng Asamoah. And today we will have a very insightful class. It will be very simple and concise, but very, very insightful. And I promise that I will change the way you think about business analysis today. So today's lecture is titled the AI powered Babok. and I believe you've all heard of Babok before. It's the business analysis body of knowledge. Business analysis body of knowledge. All right. But if you haven't, don't worry. By the end of the day, you not only understand what it is, but you'll be able to do Babok work 5 to 10 times faster than with using artificial intelligence tools. All right. And at the end of the day, you'll be able to at least, how do I say it? At least leave this room with at least one AI tool that you can start using this week, which will be very, very simple for you to undertake. All right, so let me quickly walk through what we'll cover today. So we have 5 sessions today in the first half. In the first half, we will tackle what we call the strategic and business analysis. Hold on, let me share my screen for you, please. Let me share my screen. All right. Can you all see my screen, please?
Yes, we can see your screen. Please put it on presentation mode.
All right. Give me a minute.
Thank
All right.
you.
Okay. All right. So, like I said, I'll take you through a couple of things today. So think of this as our roadmap. So we have 5 sessions today. In the first half, we will tackle what we'll call what's the strategic and business analysis. So this is like the big picture. This is what we call the big picture tools, where we use where we use certain tools to cover certain aspects like the business model canvas, the balanced scorecards, decision analysis, financial analysis, and then risk management. So these are what we call the zoom out techniques. So that's how you see the whole chessboard. And then we'll go for after a short break, maybe about 5, 10 minutes short break, we'll move into the second part, which is called the prioritization and planning stage. And that is our day-to-day tools. This is the more practical side. So we'll do things like managing your backlog, prioritizing work with either the Moscow or the RICE method, where we also have certain techniques like estimation, tracking, and then we have the learning from the past projects. From there, we'll look at some challenges that we may face. Definitely, AI comes with its own challenges. So we'll look at some challenges and then we may face in our workplaces and then some of the best practices to go about it. As and when we'll be doing it, as and when we'll be looking at every technique, I'll also be doing demonstrations using the AIs in the real world for you to see how it looks like in real time. So think of today like a cooking show. So I'm just going to show you how some recipes on the screen, and then we are going to cook together. By the end of the day, you would have seen how every food is cooked. The AI bubble food is cooked, and then probably tasted some of them. So before we begin, what is babok? Does anybody know what babok is? Hello? Does anybody know what babok is? Are you with me, please? Does anybody know what babok is?
Yeah, business analysis body of knowledge. Because it's
All right.
just a gathering
Yeah,
of
it's
information.
boldly written there. Yeah. Yes, yes. It's very simple. So, um, like I said, before we dive into the AI tools, let's make sure that we are all on the same page about BABOK. So BABOK stands for Business Analysis Body of Knowledge. So let's think of this like the Bible for business analysts. It's like a guide published by the International Institute of Business Analysts, which or the IIBA, that contains over 50 proven techniques for understanding business problems and finding solutions. So now here's the thing. Traditionally, working with Babok techniques are slow, tedious, and sometimes involves a lot of spreadsheets. Sometimes you spend hours gathering data, building models for the thing to change the next day. So here, that is why we are including AI in Babok right now. So, for example, let's think of Babok like a recipe book for business analysis. It tells you what to cook and how to cook it. But let's imagine if the actual cooking, where that is the chopping, the mixing, the measuring, is done by a super fast assistant chef who never gets tired. So that's what AI is going to do. You still decide the menu, you still taste the food, but then the majority of the work is handled by AI. I hope you understand me. So today we'll just focus on these two big areas from Babok, which is the first one is the strategic and business analysis. So like I said previously, this is the big picture stuff. So this is where you understand the markets, your competitors, your financial health, and your risk. And then the second part, which is the prioritization and then planning, that is where you roll up your sleeves and get things done. That's where you manage your work, you estimate the efforts, and you track progress. So for both areas, I'll show you how AI transforms the experience from slow and painful to fast and automatic pace. One thing I also want us to know is that AI doesn't replace you. It only helps you to work faster. Hold on. And then someone may ask, why do we add AI to Babok? So you can see on the right side, it gives us some of the benefits of using AI. So number one is it saves hours of work. AI can automate the tedious part of the running of the calculations so that you don't have to spend your time on so that you can actually spend your time on the high value thinking and then decision making. Secondly, it spots hidden patterns. Humans we are great at so many things, but reading through thousands of rows of data and finding the hidden correlation sometimes can be a real struggle. But the AI doesn't have that issue. It can do that for you, find the hidden spots and patterns easily for us. It can also predict the future. So there are some modern AI tools that can forecast risk, cash flows, and project timelines before they even happen. And that's an enormously powerful tool to have. And finally, it leads to better meetings. Well, because when everyone has a clear data-driven insights going into a meeting, you spend less time arguing about what the numbers mean and more time about making the right decisions. You understand? So that means that, for example, meetings that initially could take about 4 hours to have like a session where you can have 4 hours because meetings are back to back arguments and all that can now take less than 4 hours, maybe 90 minutes or less. You understand? And that's 10 times better. It means you are working twice as fast. You understand? So do you know the best part about what we are about to do today? So the tools that we are about to talk today Some of them are completely free. I mean, some of them I'll talk about are completely free. Others are what, you need to pay a little bit subscription and all that, but majorly the free ones are what I'll be taking you through today. And you do not need to spend so much on these the AI tools to you don't need to have a big budget for these AI tools. Some of them are very, very free. I'm sure most of us have even used ChatGPT before. So something like ChatGPT, which is totally free. And I'm sure most of us have used ChatGPT before. Let's start with our first session today, which is the strategic and business analysis. All right, let's dive into it. So in this session, like I said initially, is the zoom out part of business analysis. So when an organization hires a business analyst, one of the first things that they want to know is, can you help us understand where we are, where we want to go, and what risk stand in our way? So these are the 5 AI-powered techniques that answer exactly what those questions are. What we'll be looking at today as the 5 techniques that we'll talk about are what are those questions are those answers to those questions. These are the answers to those questions. And then the first one is what we call the business model canvas. Business model canvas. Has anybody heard about it before? The business model canvas. All right. So our first technique is called what? The business model canvas. So let me explain what it is before we even talk about the AI part of it. So a business model canvas is a one-page visual that explains how a business makes money and creates value. It's how a business, it shows you how, it explains to you how a business makes money and creates value. It has 9 boxes. I only give 6 here, sorry. But it has nine boxes, which is the customer segments, the value proposition, the channels, the customer relations, the revenue streams, the key resources. We have key activities, key partnerships, and then cost structure. So traditionally, filling out a business model canvas takes a team several hours, sometimes a full workshop. You have to reach competitors, brainstorm revenue ideas, map out customer segments. Yeah, it's thorough, but it's very, very slow. But with AI, you can just basically type in your business idea and then the AI will fill out 9 boxes in seconds. So I want this to be an interactive class. So before I demonstrate how to generate a business model canvas, let me give an example. But then whilst I'm giving an example, somebody should think of a business plan or maybe a business that we should create, and then we'll generate a business model canvas for it. So you can put the business idea into the chat box, and then I'll pick it up and then run it. Or you can also run it yourselves at your end whilst I do mine. So I beg, please, one of you should just put in a business idea, any business idea, into the chat box, and I'll get to it when I'm trying to run the demo for you to see. So, for example, let's say you are a business analyst trying for a startup, and you are trying to build an AI coffee app for busy offices. You understand? So you are trying to create a coffee app where people can just order coffee in their offices. So let's say a big busy building where there are so many other offices. You create an app where people can just open the app and then create and then order coffee. So let's say you can easily go into ChatGPT and type create a business model canvas for the business, which is the AI coffee app, which will target busy corporate offices. something that used to take people, when you are trying to create a business model canvas, something that used to take people, I mean, several hours to come up with. With AI, you can just do it in a few seconds. In 30 seconds, you can just complete a Canva, which will give you all the segments that we talk about, the customer segments, where it will talk about how your customers will be the office managers within which maybe have maybe an office, the employees in an office space, which can be about 50 of them, employees in a building. It will also give you your value proposition, like you should never run out of coffee. It can even predict the orders before you run low. Sometimes give you your revenue stream, like how to put in a subscription so that people can subscribe. That is how you generate your revenue, and then premium forecasting. And all of this is instant. When for something that used to take 3 hours of workshop to do, you can just do it in 30 seconds by just typing it in an AI. You understand? And how does this help? What are some of the capabilities of, using AI to generate something like this? It's some of the capabilities are instant canvases. So AI will read your business idea and populate all the 9 boxes immediately without no hassle, without that long hours of workshop and all that. It gives you smart suggestions. It even identifies the gaps in your model. That's sometimes something like you haven't defined your cost structure. All these are the gaps that you can find in your models. It even gives you the what if scenarios. Like you can test the models, like let's say, what if we shift to a freemium revenue model, somewhere like um people don't have to pay for the subscription, but in a way you still earn. That's what we call the freemium revenue model. So yeah, these are some of the endless capabilities of using AI to do this particular technique. Then some of the tools that I can recommend for this particular purpose is what is ChatGPT, which we already know is free. And then we have some apps like App Metrics, which is an AI-powered business plan. We have apps like Monday.ai or Prompts, and then we have Canva or Miro AI. So let's run a quick demo for you to see. I would open. Please, did anyone post a business idea in the just any business idea? All right, I'm seeing. I'm going to the chats. Okay, business smoothies. Okay, 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 okay. All right, all right. Embroidery. So, so which one should we choose? Okay, Mercy dropped hers first. So let's use Mercy's idea. And let me. I'm trying to share the screen for my browser. Let's just use ChatGPT. All right, can you all see my screen? I'm sure you can. And then
Yes.
yeah, and then who was Mercy's? Yeah, Mercy's business idea. Okay, I've copied it. So create BMC business model canvas for smoothie. All right. All right. So as we can see, within a few seconds, it has created the business model canvas for us and all the segments, so let's go through them. So we will have the customer segment. So we can have, these are the kind of people that you can sell to. So it is the health conscious individual. So gym goers and fitness enthusiasts. So you can, these are kind of people you can target, who can be your target audience. We have what students and young professionals. You understand? We have families with children, office workers as quick snacks, lunch alternatives, and then event planners, people who are planning birthdays, parties, corporate events, because they can also what purchase some of these things like smoothies, ice cream, parfait, and all that. You understand? What is the value proposition? Proposition. It's fresh, healthy, and with natural ingredients, customizable smoothies and parfait. Sometimes it can be sugar free. So if you're coming up with this idea and you don't know where to start from, all you have is what's the business plan or the idea behind what you want to do. You can just, put this here instead of hours of brainstorming. You can just put this here and it will generate it with you in a few seconds. So affordable indulgence. So we have quick serve for busy lifestyles, hygienic and visually appealing product. You understand? How to get value for the business that you want to create. What are the channels to sell your product, or how to go about it? So we have our physical shops or kiosks. You can sell them through, find a location near some of these, customers. So before, we already mentioned customers. So you can find a shop near a gym, a school, an office, and then sell it there. You can also leverage what social media, which is a very useful tool. You can use what food delivery platforms like Bolt Food, Glovo, Jumia, if they are available. You can even have pop-up events. You can even do once in a while when there's a pop-up event or there's a market, you can what get a stand and then sell your stuff. We have customer relations, which is what, friendly, fast, and personalized service. You can run promotions and discounts for repeat customers. You can use social media engagement, so that you get to engage with your customers on your social media accounts. You can run loyalty programs, buy five and get one free. You can also do feedback collections. Let people who buy from you or share. These days when people have businesses, they let customers, share their reviews, and that is one way of what building customer relations with people who buy from you. And then how to get revenue from such a business. There's direct sales. When you make sales, you get what's your revenue from it. You get combo deals. You can cater for events. And yeah, subscription packages. So weekly healthy smoothie plans. You understand? You can create a platform where you can share recipes. Sometimes you can even create a YouTube account, a social media account where you can share your recipes, let people subscribe to it. These are all ways of generating revenue for the business. Uh, some of the key resources, things that you would need to start up this business or to get going. You need some equipment like blenders, freezers, refrigerators. You need your raw materials like fruits, yogurts, and all that. So to cut this short, I'm just trying to say, um, you instead of taking hours to come up with this, AI generated this for you in a few seconds. You understand? So if you are trying to start up a business, you have joined a business, you are the business analyst for a business, and then you are they ask you some of these questions to create some of these things. Instead of using long hours coming to come up with something like this, AI has come to help us to generate this in a few seconds, to go about this within a few seconds, and you are done. I hope you all get me. All right. So let's go back to the slides. All right. So now that we have looked at what a business model canvas is and how to come about it, let's go on to the second technique, which we call the balance scorecard. The balance scorecard. So the balance scorecard, or the BSC. Oh, hold on. Yeah. So if the balance score canvas that we looked at shows you what the business does, the balance score, if the business model canvas, sorry, shows you what your business does, the balance scorecard shows you how well your business is doing from four different perspectives. So the business model canvas showing you what your business does, the how to generate revenue, the things that you need, how to relate with customers. Now you set up the business, you're already up and running. So the balance scorecard shows you how well your business is doing. So from four different perspectives. So those four perspectives are the financial parts. Are we making money? The second one is what? Customers. Are customers happy? The third is what? Internal processes. Are operations what? Efficient? And then the final is learning and growth. And the question is, are people developing the right skills? Traditionally, a balance scorecard was updated quarterly. That means you would have to pull together data from different departments, put it into a spreadsheet or PowerPoint, and present it to leadership. By the time anyone has acted upon the insights, the data is already outdated. You understand me? Because things are all constantly being changed, shifts, and all that. So by the time you even go to the data to use it to create an insight about your business, it might already be what's updated. But AI changes that by making your scorecard live. It connects to your data sources and updates in real time. In real time. For example, imagine a large clothing retailer, and then their AI powered balance scorecard is monitoring the customer feedbacks from across social media reviews, and then support tickets 24/7. Suddenly, one Monday morning, you can just with this one Monday morning, maybe the AI sends alerts to the business analyst that the customer satisfactions have dropped 12% over the last 7 days in the northern region. It can recommend a reviewing chatbot training so that customers who are not getting resolution for customers who are not getting resolution on their returns. And then that is not something that human analysts can catch up within a weekly report. But in an AI can catch it in real time and even suggest a fix. You understand? So what I'm basically saying is the balance scorecard, checks and tells you how your business is doing in a short period with AI involved. As and when things are happening in your organization, the AI is capturing all these things and giving you feedback on all these things, on the progress of your organization or your business. So what are some of the capabilities of adding AI to these things? How does it help? It gives you real-time updates. So you don't no more quarterly spreadsheets. Like it gives you a live feed. There's a live dashboard that updates as data changes. It predicts alerts. So when sales drop, maybe it can tell you that sales will drop by 15% in the next quarter unless you take action. And then it has auto KPI suggestions. AI it can recommend metrics that you should be tracking that you might have missed. You understand? What are some of the tools that we can use for this particular technique? We can use an AI called profits.co which is a built-in AI BSc with predictions. We can even use our very own Microsoft 365 Copilots, where it will work inside your Excel and PowerPoint that you already use. We already know that Microsoft has now incorporated Copilot into our Word, our Excel. So the data, all the data that you are giving it, the Copilot can generate and track all these things for you as and when you are using the tool, or you're putting in your figures um, and in live, like in updates will be giving you in real time. You'll be getting updates in real time. So we have another AI called the Clear Point strategy, which is an AI powered scorecard for teams. And then we have Cascade, which is a strategy execution with AI suggestions. Because we don't have a business that we don't have any business and we don't have data for it right now. We can't track, but I got how it should look like if you have a business, as a balance scorecard. Let's say you have a business and you have an AI incorporated in your business that checks your balance scorecard. The one on the left, I hope you can see my screen. The one on the left is a typical balance scorecards that are given quarterly to managers or leaders, leadership in an organization to check. Um, so this is maybe Q3 2024. Let's say we have an embroidery. This is an embroidery business called Stitch and Co. So these are the four um, aspects of checking your balance scorecard. So in a financial prospect, it tells you that your revenue growth, which was your target was 15%, is now what? 11%. Your gross margins, which your target was 52%, is what? 54%. And then your cost per unit, which was 18 cities, is what? Is what? 21 cities. Your customer perspective, your order satisfaction, your target was 90%, maybe you stand at 88%. Your repeat order rates, your target was 40%, you stand at 43%. And then average turnaround, your target was 5 days, you stand at 7 days. So these are the traditional way of creating balance scorecards. That was prepared by finance. But then if you incorporate AI into your business, this will give you what this will give you what um, real-time updates, real-time updates, and as you connect your data sources to the AI. So let's say your data source, like your Excel, is connected directly to this AI platform. So you can get real-time updates. So you see how much you've generated from your revenue in the last month. You can see your gross margins, how many orders that are open, and then which ones are overdue. You can tell here that the person got an alert that there's a deficit rate which will hit 3.1%, which is about the 2% threshold. It gives you insights. Corporate segments repeat orders up by 43%. Consider a Q4 loyalty discount campaign, and it's giving you things to do, suggestions. It's giving you suggestions on what to do in the fourth quarter to do to give out loyalty discount campaigns. You understand? It's basically telling you what to do and giving you live insights or real-time insights. Whereas in the traditional one, which is done like quarterly or every 6 months, by the time you get this information, you are probably behind time, or the data will not even be relevant anymore, like I said. I hope you all get me. I hope you all get what I'm trying to show. That is what balance scorecard does for us. Okay. So let's carry on. If I'm going too fast, please let me know. Please let me know. So third technique is what we call the decision analysis. And this is one of my favorites, personal favorites, because it solves a very specific problem. The problem of making important decisions based on gut feeling instead of data. So how many of you have been in a meeting where someone said, I have a feeling that this is the right option, where everyone will just nod and then the person will say, that's my gut feeling. Like, so that's what we call the gut feel decision making. So somebody will just say, oh, I feel it in my gut that this is the right decision to make. I hope, has anybody ever been in an organization and then, you know, you make decisions based on your guts? Yes. All right. We do that all the time. In most organizations, it happens, but sometimes it costs organizations millions of money, and then it can affect them later in the future because decision analysis is about comparing options systematically. So you use tools like decision trees, scoring matrix, and probability models to evaluate your choices objectively. That is the right way of making decisions. So AI supercharges this by running thousands of what-if scenarios in seconds, something that will take a human analyst days to manually do. You understand? Let's say your company is deciding whether two enterprise software is trying to decide between two new enterprise software tools. Maybe the first one will cost them $80,000, and then the second one will cost them $95,000. But the question is which one is actually better for your organization long term. Traditionally, you would have a long someone would build an Excel matrix of constraints, your team's technical capabilities, and your growth projections. And then AI will just run the analysis and then just give you maybe to say that based results will be 2B has a higher upfront cost. Maybe the one that was 95,000 has a higher upfront cost. But based on your usage, your patterns, and your growth trajectory, it will save you 120,000 over 3 years. And then it will tell you that the risk profile is low. So and here in this case, that the decision has been made in minutes and not even days. I hope you understand me. Decision has been made in minutes and not days, where something in a traditional this particular decision technique in a traditional method would have taken you days to come about to complete. What are the benefits of using AI to undergo these techniques? It does what scenario testing. It will test thousands of combinations instantly. It does what probability scores. So let's say when you use AI, one thing that let me give an example. We all use ChatGPT. We might have asked ChatGPT to do certain things for us constantly. So it has It has an idea of who you are. You've probably asked ChatGPT to write your CV for you before. You've probably um, asked ChatGPT to write an application letter for you. That means you probably gave it your history about where you've studied, where you've worked, the kind of degree that you have, or the qualifications or certificates that you have. With that, in the subsequent days or years, when you tell ChatGPT to create another, apply for another, write how do you call it? Write uh, an application letter for you. You don't need to give it all the information again because it has previous knowledge about you. So it can just generate what the new application for you in minutes because it has information about you. Basically, that's what this probability scores does. So based on your past decisions that you've made, it can tell you that, okay, based on your past decisions that you've made, uh, there's a probability that this option will be best for you or this option will be best for you. You understand? Basically, that is what the AI does for us. And then there's risk assessments. It identifies the risk in each option that you might have missed. You understand? Some of the tools that we might use for this technique is ChatGPT, like I already mentioned. We have Claude. We have Microsoft Copilot, which does research and scoring directly in Excel for us. And we have Perplexity AI, which has a research backed comparison with such sources. So one thing that we should know is that the AI will give you the data, but you make the final decision. You understand? With this particular technique, the AI will just give you the data based on what it has, based on the insights it has been given, and your past decisions. But you will make the final decision on the final judgment call. And we always say that the human judgment combined with AI insights equals the best decisions. So never outsource the entire work to just AI to do it for you. You understand? So if we all go into our AI right now, an AI that we usually use, an AI that we usually use most of the time, and we tell it to generate something for us. I mean, something that we can all try right now. If we go there and tell it to generate this and that for us, generate. Maybe you've been planning to run this business for a long time. So you've been talking about it with AI. Some of us even have our relationship conversations with AI. Me, for instance, sometimes I even go to ask AI regarding if I have a fault in my car. I even go to AI to ask this. Oh, I hear this noise. This is what happened when I was driving. It started jerking off when I was driving. It started pulling power. There's no. It just went off in the middle of the road. I probably every fix that I've done with my car, I've probably asked AI about it. So AI knows information about my car. So when I go to AI and I ChatGPT, for instance, and I tell it, um, okay, so my car has been doing this and that. It just went off. Recently I changed some spark plugs, if anybody knows what spark plugs, and then ignition coils. So I shouldn't have that issue again. But if suddenly start feeling the thing in my car that it has started encountering such, I start feeling like my car is behaving the same way again. I can just ask AI and then it will automatically tell me the problem, what it feels the problem is. You understand? Because it has past information I've given it over time, and it helps me make a decision on what is actually wrong with my car. So when I'm going to the mechanic, I'm not going to ask them to tell me what is wrong. Because most of the time, I know what is wrong already. You understand? Or I just let them look at it, see what they will say, and whether it will correspond with what the AI also told me. You understand? So that is what AI does. It helps you make a final judgment call. You understand? But you shouldn't always just outsource it all to AI. You need to make the final judgment call. All right. I hope you all get me. Let's move on to the next technique, which is financial analysis. Financial analysis. So, yeah, I know some of you might be thinking, I'm a business analyst and not an accountant. So what has financial analysis got to do with this? And you may be right, but the reality is every business decision has financial implications. And even most businesses, the decisions of business are made with the finance for the finance of the business at the back of our heads. As a business analyst, you need to be able to speak a little bit of money, language of money, at least at least a high level. So financial analysis in Babel covers things like cost benefits analysis, return of interest calculations, cash flow forecasting, and financial scenario modeling. Traditionally, this requires someone comfortable with Excel formulas and financial models and all that. And not every business analyst has felt confident in um, this particular technique. But AI changes that completely. You can now ask AI financial problems or questions in plain English and get clear, actionable answers. You understand? You can feed AI with a full-on Excel balance or financial data or documents. A full-on, maybe your accountant can give you a full-on breakdown of an Excel document which has like so many figures, so many information about the finance side of the organization, and you are supposed to make an analysis or predict where the company should go, what the company should do. And then if you are coming from a place where you don't have, an accounting background, it can be what? It can be tedious. It can be, I mean, what am I doing? Is this, can I even do this? Is it possible? But with AI, it makes it simple. It makes it completely, and it will give you the answers based in what? In simple English, in simple plain English. For example, imagine um, a startup is deciding whether to hire 3 new employees. The CEO can ask the business analyst, what happens to our profits if we hire 3 more people? The old school answer will be, let me build an Excel model, which might take about 2 to 3 hours and be a full form and sometimes be full of what? Errors, formula errors. But with AI, you feed it your current financial revenue. Like you can you can give the AI your financials, something like your revenue, your cost, and your burn rates. And then you ask the same question. What happens to our profit if we hire 3 more people? You can just ask the AI after giving it your revenue, your cost, your burn rate. And AI will respond in seconds. Like something to just say based on your scenario, profits increase by 12%. So most likely scenario will be profits will drop to 5% for the first 6 months as onboarding cost kicks in. And then the worst case scenario will be profits will drop 80% if the new hires take 9 months to reach full productivity. These scenarios are in plain English. You understand? Are in plain English. It's not a full accounting English that you need to rack your brain to understand. I hope you get me. You just give it like I said, you just give it your revenue, your costs, and your burn rates, and then you just ask it, what happens to our profit if we have 3 more people? So what are the benefits or how this AI-powered technique will do for us, the capabilities of using this method? So it helps in auto forecasting. It can predict cash flow automatically from your historical data. Secondly, it's what we call anomaly detection. It flags unusual numbers instantly. Let's say it will tell you this expense looks 40% higher than your average. It will just flag it, you understand? And then there's scenario running. It will test multiple financial features simultaneously. You understand? Some tools that can be used are Microsoft 365 Copilots, which has financial analysis it has this embedded in your Excel using natural language. So you just type what you want and then it will give it to you. There's also Claude in Excel. Sorry. Which flags unusual numbers instantly. Sorry. There's also Claude in Excel. So it is an AI-powered spreadsheet analysis. So it's specifically designed for this particular purpose, by the way. So, and then we have app metrics and data robots, which are, applications or AIs that maybe you need to pay for, but then they also help. They predict your financial forecasting for long-term planning. So the one thing we need to know is that when AI can explain numbers in plain English. So even if you are not a financial expert, you can ask AI to explain what a number means. Maybe why is this cash flow projection negative? And it will explain it clearly. And that is a game changer for people who are not in a financial, who are non-financial business analysts. So if you're a business analyst, but you're not from the financial aspect, AI helps you to explain certain things for you in plain language. If any of you is from a financial sector or business from the financial sector, you can just give AI, feed AI with your some accounting data and tell it to explain it to you, and then it will just do that. And you can use any of the AI I just mentioned, Claude, even ChatGPT, our very own ChatGPT can do that for you. You can use Microsoft Copilots, and it is very, very simple. I hope you all get me. All right. So let's go to the fifth technique in the first aspect that we've been looking at. And that is the risk analysis and management. So our fifth and final technique in section is what we call the risk analysis and management. So this is arguably one of the most important techniques in this session because risk, if it is unmanaged, can sink a project or a team or even an organization. Traditional risk management look like something like this. Someone will just maintain a risk register spreadsheet. You would have a column for a risk description, one for probability, one for impact. Maybe you would even review it monthly in a meeting. The problem, however, is that by the time the risk showed up in your monthly spreadsheet, it had often already become a problem. You understand? But AI moves you from reactive risk management which is firefighting, to proactive risk management, which is preventing fires before they even start. Before they even start. Let's give an example. Let's say imagine a bank that uses AI to monitor all customer transactions in real time. So millions of transactions per day. Then the AI system notices a pattern. Maybe one customer's payment behavior has shifted. Smaller minimum payments and then late payments starting. The AI can just flag it that the customer is showing early signs of what? Credit risk. It can predict 60% of probability that the person will default in 3 months. The bank then can now just reach out proactively, offer a payment plan, restructure restructure the loan, and send a financial counselor to the person. Before AI, that same signal would have been caught after the person has actually even defaulted. And that's the difference between proactive and reactive. And then let's move away from a bank. Let's give an example from a bank, away from the bank sector. Let's say in a software project context. So imagine your AI tools monitor your project data. So let's say sprint velocity, bug rates, team leave, calendars. It can detect that your velocity has dropped 20% over 3 sprints. And then maybe 2 key engineers are on leave next month. And the major deadline is in 6 weeks. So the AI will let there's a high risk of missing the second quarter delivery. Recommend adding one resource or de-scoping 3 features. That warning delivered early gives you what time to act. You understand? So basically, that's what AI helps with risk analysis and management. It becomes what? It helps you prevent catastrophes rather than what? Waiting for the thing to happen before you fight it. You understand? It helps you when you have AI included in your um, in your organization, in your day-to-day activities. It helps you what to fight it before it even comes. It even comes up. You prevent it before it even comes instead of what waiting for it to happen before you fight it. what are some of the benefits of using this particular feature um, in your organization? It predicts alerts. It identifies the risk before they materialize. You understand? Secondly, it gives you news monitoring. It watches external data where it watches market news, regulatory changes, and competitors moves 24/7. You understand? And it also does what? Auto updates. It keeps your risk register current automatically without manual inputs. And then some of the tools that I can recommend for this particular um, technique is what we call the Mind Bridge AI, which is an anomaly detection for focused in the financial and transactional data. We also have ChatGPT and Claude, which brainstorms and assesses risk with prompts like, what are the top 10 risks for a retail expansion project? So you can just ask these AI some questions like that, and it will give you the risk involved in that. Microsoft Copilot is also there, which has an integrated risk tracking inside your Teams and your Outlook. You understand? There's also Jira and the Monday, which has a project level risk tracking with AI suggestions. All right. Did you get me? Did anybody understand what I just said? Did everybody understand what I just said? All right. So let's recap. Let's recap what we've done so far. The techniques. These are the 5 techniques in the first aspect. So let's do a quick recap before we take a quick 5 minutes break, and then we continue to the second part. So we've covered 5 AI-powered techniques for strategic business analysis. We've covered 5. We've covered 5. The first was what we call the business model canvas, where the AI builds your full canvas in seconds from just the simple idea. We also did what we call the balance scorecard, where the AI keeps your KPIs live and sends predictive alerts. We also looked at decision analysis, where the AI will test thousands of scenarios so you make data-driven choices instead of gut feeling and decisions. We also looked at financial analysis, which the AI will forecast the cost and profits in plain English for you to understand, especially if you are not from the financial aspects of or the accounting side of the organization. And then finally, we looked at risk analysis, which AI moves you from firefighting to fire prevention. So did anybody get something? Was there a big takeaway from any of you? Because I took something out of it. Did anybody take something out of it?
Yes, I
For me,
did.
yeah, okay, carry on. What did you take out of it,
So
please?
for me, my key takeaway would be for the business model canvas,
Mhm.
where I can quick.
Hello, is it my network? Hello, Mercy.
I think
I
we lost
can't
her.
hear you. I think we lost her. Yes, yes, yes. Can anybody else also? Can anybody else also give me what they took out of it?
Yeah, I think for me, the business scorecard is my takeaway. It can help you assess the level, the progress of your business at any point in time, and make
Yes,
it easier for you to see your progress or where you have issues to actually make
yes,
amendments and then
yes,
know
yes,
what
yes,
to do.
yes, yes, yes. So we learned that AI transforms strategic analysis from just a static once in a year exercise into a continuous real-time process that keeps you ahead of the curve. Instead of reviewing a quarterly report, you can just have a live dashboard. Instead of finding out about a problem after it happens, you get a warning even before it happens. So in a way, AI makes you strategically it makes a strategic makes you conscious about whatever you are doing. AI makes strategy continuous instead of just what a 1 year and 1 year thing, once in a year thing. It makes you every time you are always on your tools. You always have information. You're always being told the AI is feeding you with information and letting you know things that are happening in your organization in real time instead of what waiting for meetings, waiting for quarterly reports to get them. You understand? And that is what AI helps you as a business analyst. Sorry. All right. So before we head into the second part, we can take maybe a 5 minutes break. Stretch your legs, drink water, have a glass of water, and all that. Then we'll continue after 5 minutes. I hope that's fine.
That's
Yeah, that's
okay.
okay.
All right.
While we are on break, please do well to fill up the attendance if you have not done so before. Thank you so much.
All right. All right, let's carry on. Let's move to the second part of today's lesson, which is the prioritization and planning. All right. So if we looked at session one already, if session one was about seeing the big picture, session two is about rolling up your sleeves and getting things done. So We will also look at 5 techniques in this session, and these are like these are the ones that you use day to day in your day-to-day work as a business analyst. And AI makes each of them dramatically easier and faster. So we'll be looking at 5 techniques. The first one is the backlog management. Backlog management. So in agile project management and business analysis, a backlog is your master to-do list. It's a living list of all the work items, features, bugs, and improvements that need to be done on a project or on a product. So if your backlog is messy, your team is confused. If your backlog is clean and organized, your team moves fast. Is there a challenge? Yes, there is a challenge. Backlogs can get messy very quick. Items can get duplicated, descriptions are vague, old and irrelevant tasks can pile up. Cleaning a backlog manually is one of the most tedious parts of a business analyst job. And then, however, AI makes it almost automatic. Let's give a real life example. So a team has a backlog of 200 tickets. It was a mess, like vague titles, duplicate items, tickets from 18 months ago that were no longer relevant. So a business analyst spent 2 days manually cleaning it. But with AI, all you have to do is feed all your 200 tickets to the AI tool, and it will generate results for you, maybe 60 plus tickets. It can tell you that 60 plus tickets were rewritten from vague, or it can rewrite your tickets into more concise and clear English. And it can even tell you about 40% of the items are junk. And then the ones that are not junk will also be pulled out of the junk folder for you. Something that will take a business analyst about 2 days. It can just, if you feed it with all your tickets, it can do the work for you in about just an hour or two. And then you would have to go through now and then as a business analyst, you have to go through and then do the right thing, or arrange it so that your team can do the work quickly. Another example, let's imagine you're a business analyst for a company creating a mobile banking app. Let's say there's a project for mobile banking app projects. So, and the developer who is developing the app can write tickets like fix the thing on the login page. When someone says fix the thing on the login page, it's vague. It's useless as a work item, but you can paste it into an AI, like ClickUp AI, and ask it to rewrite it as a proper user story. It can in return give you something like, as a mobile banking user, I want the login error message to clearly describe why my login failed, so that I can quickly resolve the issue without calling customer support. That is proper. That is a proper way of writing a ticket. You understand? And in a way, it will take away what's the vague noise and turn it into clear, actionable stories. And then that's what AI does. That's what AI does. So, what are the benefits of using AI for this particular technique? It solves auto duplication. There's auto duplication, so automatically detects and removes duplicate items. You understand? There's smart stories. It rewrites vague tickets into clear, properly formatted user stories. And then there's auto tidy. It continuously organizes the backlog based on priority status without manual effort. And what are some of the tools to use? We have Jira, and then we have ClickUp. We have AHA AI. AHA AI is a product management focused AI. It has a free feature and it also has a paid feature. And then we have product board AI. I'll take you through how the interface of the AHA AI looks like. We'll look at it. We'll look at it today. And then, so before we look at it, I want us to just use a normal create. Let's all put something into the chat box, like um, any tickets. Let's all write something a badly. Just write something a badly any tickets that you may. Let's say we have from the business idea that we created a BMC4, which was the ice cream and the parfait business. So let's say we run such a business. Let's say we all run such a business, and then there are things to do. Let's just generate um, a tickets for, and then we'll just put it into AI and see if it will be able to to manage our backlog for us. So first, you can just write mine is fixed broken checkout. Maybe we have a checkout machine, but it's broken. So something like fixed broken checkout. Let me put it in a chat box so that you all see what I'm talking about. This is this is a ticket that can be raised. I've put this into the chat box. What are that? Let's all put something down, and then I'll copy all of it and then paste it in one of the AI tools and see if it can manage our backlog for us and explain it properly for us to use. What are some of the things that can come out from running an ice cream business? Anybody? Any tickets at all? Badly written tickets, any tickets. Or we should just stick to this only the fixed booking checkouts. We've already told the AI that we want to run. All right. So let me just show you how it will generate. Let me share this screen. All right. So All right. So as you can see, I just give it two um two tickets to run and organize my backlog, which were fixed booking checkout and then stock on raw materials depleting. Because he already knows the business that I'm running, he knows that if I talk about raw materials, it's going to be about fruits, milk, granola, something like that. And then fixed booking checkout, it will also mean that customers are unable to complete purchase, which is what POS is the mobile money or online issue. So it will prioritize using what the business impact, and it will tell you, oh, use a simple rule. Revenue impact is before operations and before improvement. So it will tell you, it will rank it according to priority. And you all remember this part about organize of or this section about this second section is headed what prioritization and planning. So when you have such a backlog, it will just prioritize your 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 backlog for you, your tickets for you, maybe fixed broken checkouts, which is urgent. You understand? If customers can't pay, you are losing money immediately. So this is a business stopping issue. So it will tell you when you run this one first, and then restock raw materials. So without stock, you can't produce. So this is a future revenue loss. So slightly less urgent than the checkout if you still have stock. You understand? And then it has given you priority framework, which and then yeah, you understand. So PO means critical, P1 means high, and all that. It has given us an insight about what to do, and even it has even broken the task into simple actionable task. You understand? So that is what AI helps us to do. In case you are in that situation where you are running such a business, and these are things that you do on a daily basis. It's a day-to-day thing. You don't know what to do. You're encountering such issues. You've written down these tickets, and then you don't know which one to prioritize, which one to do, and all that. So AI what helps you to prioritize this this technique, use this technique, and then help you to work efficiently. I hope you all get me. I hope you all get the scenario I just gave. Okay, so let's go back to the slide. Next is what we call the prioritization. And then for here, we are using the Moscow method, but we can use other methods like the rice method and all that. You understand? So now that our backlog is clean, we need to decide what we do, which work that we do first. And you realize that from the search I just did, from the prompt I just generated, it's even told us what to do first. So it automatically answers this particular technique that we were talking about. First of all, the backlog explained whatever we are supposed to do. Even if you're an organization and then you came and then maybe you are a couple of people, maybe you run the organization. Let's go back to the backlog management. You run the organization. Maybe you have employees. When you came to work the next day, they had written these tickets, like these tickets where there's, checkouts issue and then depletion in the raw materials. You understand? You were just putting it in there. It gave us what a clear explanation of what the backlog or the tickets mean. Because even if you do not understand or you are new, you've just been appointed as a business analyst for the organization. Just by looking at the ticket, you know what it is about. You understand, or you mean after putting it in the AI, it will tell you what it is about, even if you don't have no idea about what is going on. Once you know what the organization is about, or you give the AI what the organization is about, what you do as an organization, It can tell you what it means. You understand what the ticket means. And then secondly, it prioritizes which one needs to be done first. You understand? So it cleans the backlog and it tells you which work you should do first. So this is where prioritization comes in. And it is the most popular and the most popular prioritization framework in business analysis is the Moscow method. We also have the RICE method, which is RICE. And then, but let's focus on the Moscow method. And what does Moscow mean? It is a must have, should have, could have, and won't have. So must have means it is critical. The project will fail without it. So at that point in time, the checkout means that the business will fail. You are not gaining any revenue if you do not have that particular problem fixed. And then we have the should have, which is what it is important, but not critical. Include if possible. You understand? And we have the could have, which is nice to have, but it's low in risk to exclude. It doesn't cause you any risk if you exclude it. And then we have the won't have, which is what? Which is basically we don't need it at this time. It is out of our scope for now, but we might need it later when, I mean, we are not so in a hurry when the storms are calm. You understand? So the challenge with traditional Moscow is that it turns into a debate. Everyone thinks that their feature is a must-have. Meetings can go on and on for hours. Stakeholders can get emotional. Nothing gets prioritized effectively. But AI solves this by scoring items objectively based on your business value, your efforts required, and then the strategic alignment. It can suggest which Moscow buckets each item should belong in with a clear reason why. You understand? With a clear reason why. So for example, let's say a team has about 50 of has a backlog of 50 items to prioritize before AI. The manual process will take about 2 hours to debate in a meeting, but after AI, it's just about 2 minutes. The AI will score each item across multiple dimensions and place them into the Moscow categories with explanation. So the team will, instead of spending countless hours doing the discussion, rather you spend minutes rather reviewing and adjusting the AI's output and not rather arguing from scratch. You understand? So let's give another example. Let's imagine you are planning a university student portal upgrade. You are trying to upgrade a university student portal. Some of your backlog are, online grade reviewing. So where students can view their grade. You also have assignment submission, where students can submit their assignment. We also have library book renewal. We also have parking permit registration. And then finally, a sports club sign up. These are some of the things that need to be done as you're upgrading your portal. Which one is a must-have versus could have? You can ask AI to prioritize these features for a student portal using the Moscow method, which will consider the student's usage. It will consider the student's usage frequency and administrative dependencies. And then maybe the AI can respond like maybe the online grade viewing and the assignment submission are the must-haves. You understand? These are important. Students need to view their grades and then also submit their assignments. These are the must-have on the student portal. And then we also have the library renewal. It's maybe should have. You should have it. Library renewal, but it's not as urgent as as viewing your grades and then submitting your assignments. And then we have something like the parking and then the sports club, which is something that you could have. You understand? It's nice to have, but it's a low risk to include. To include parking and then sports clubs. It can justify this and give you clear reason, and then you don't have to go over it, debating it back and forth. You understand? Some of the tools that we can use for this particular technique is what we call the air focus. And then this particular tool has what Moscow and Rice scoring embedded in its AI. We also have the ClickUp and then the Jira AI, which has a built-in prioritization AI in it. So let's go back to what the prompt I did earlier on. Let's just, even though it's prioritized it for us, let's just tell it to use the Moscow method and let's see what it does. Let me share that screen again. So prioritize these backlog I mentioned above using the Moscow method. Like I said, it already prioritized it for us, but with the Moscow method, it's telling us, okay, so it's telling us that we should fix what our checkout first. It's a must-have. If customers can't pay, revenues will stop immediately. So this directly affects daily cash flow. So it's a must-have. It needs to be fixed today, immediately. You understand? Should have. It means what? Important, but not immediately business stopping. So our stock wasn't depleted, it was depleting. So you can still operate temporarily if you have some stock left. But if ignored, it becomes a must-have very quickly. So your decision should be addressed it within the next 24 to 48 hours, depending on how much you have. It has already categorized this into a should have. We didn't have a could have or a must have, a won't have, what do you call it, backlog. But if should there have been some, we would have put it in that sector, in that category for us immediately. And then you know which ones to tackle immediately and which ones to lay back and then tackle it as and when it is appropriate. You understand? So basically, that's what AI helps us to do. If you are running an organization, if you have a business, if you're a business analyst for an organization, it categorizes your work for you so that you know which ones to tackle immediately and which ones to lay back and take your time with. You understand? I hope you all got it. All right. So let's carry on. We have the technique. Estimation technique. And it is every project team's favorite topic, apparently, and the least accurate exercise, unfortunately. So how long would this usually take? In agile teams estimate using story points. They estimate using story points or hours. And most teams are notoriously bad at it. Why? Because estimation is hard. You are predicting the future. You are affected by optimism bias. Or somebody will say it won't take that long. You are not accounting for all the unknowns. You should know that you are not accounting for all the unknowns and you are doing it based on memory rather than historical data. You understand? So AI solves the estimation problem by doing what humans can't easily do. It analyzes all of your team's historical data, every past sprint, every past feature, every past bug fix, and uses that to predict how long your current items will take. You understand? So let's give an example. Let's say a team was estimating a new feature, and then their gut said 15 days. The AI looked at every similar feature that they have built in the past 18 months, accounted for the current team's velocity and upcoming leave, and predicted that it will take 18 days. So they said 15, but the AI said 18 days. That's like almost half the team's estimates. And however, sometimes the AI can be right. The feature was shipped within 9 days, or sometimes was shipped within 9 days. So had the team gone with their gut estimate, they would have allocated 15 days for resources for something that took what, nine days, which is a huge inefficiency. Another example, let's think about a student estimating how long it will take to write an assignment. So a first year student might say, oh, 2 hours based on my gut feeling, and then end up pulling an all-nighter because they didn't account for research time, revision, and formatting. But an AI tool that has seen your past 20 assignments would say, based on your similar 3,000 word essays that you've written, this will take approximately 8 hours, including research. It will tell you start by Thursday. That's estimation powered by data, not optimism or optimism. What are the key insights to estimation, to using AI? AI gets smarter over time. And if we listen to my previous session on the first session that we did, I also mentioned that because the AI has previous data about you, it gets smarter over time. The more data that you feed it, it becomes smarter. The more projects and sprints your team complete, the more data AI has to learn from, and the more accurate its predictions become. And this is a compounding advantage. Right? So from what I said previously, because it knows I gave the example of my car issue. Because it knows previous information, it has been given data, it learns and then becomes more accurate over time. You understand? And then that is an advantage. And some of the tools recommended for this action is what we call is Jira. Jira is good for that. ClickUp, Forecast. There's an AI called Forecast app, which does that. Normal ChatGPT, Claude, Microsoft Copilot, all of these also are very good for estimations because it knows you. You have been giving it data for months. So it has learned on the data that you have given it. So it knows you and it knows how to estimate for you. I hope you all get it. I hope you understand. I hope you are with me. All right. So let's go to the next technique, which is item tracking.
I have a question, please.
Okay, carry on. Carry on with your question. Hello? Yeah, go ahead, Messi.
Okay. So regarding the other two, regarding the other two, which is the estimation, right? Which I didn't see ChatGPT as one of the AI tools to be used in 2026. So I want to be clarified. Is it that ChatGPT can give you accurate estimation, or should we rather go for the Jira AI or the other AI? Please clarify. Thank you.
Oh, all right. Good question. Like I said, they all do the work. I mentioned it, but it's not written there. But I mentioned it. I mentioned ChatGPT. Because for instance, we all use ChatGPT. Like I said, we've probably had most interaction with ChatGPT than we've even had with our friends or with our doctors, with our mechanics. We basically ask ChatGPT everything, all our classroom work, all our things that we do at the office, the tasks that we have. We basically feed it with ChatGPT to do it for you. What I'm saying is it can estimate because you've given it data to learn on. It has data about you to learn on. It can generate an estimate for you. So ChatGPT can also do that. Just because I didn't type it there doesn't mean it's not a very good tool for estimation. But however, when you are doing project management, these are some of the tools that work best because they are built in. They are built in with the kind of projects that you may be doing. You understand? But ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot, they all do that based on information that you've given it in the past, all the data that it has compounded about you, all the data that it has compounded about you. It gives it an advantage. You understand? So it does. All these apps help. Just that, like I said, Jira has sprint prediction and velocity tracking, which is an industry standard embedded in its programming. ClickUp has time estimate and automatic tracking in its setup in its programming. Forecast app has a dedicated AI powered project forecasting tool. You understand? That is why these are the industry. They are the industry standards for business analysts. Most of these apps that I've also mentioned are also very accessible. You can use them as well. They are free. You understand? And then they also do all these estimates for you. But you need to have what? It needs to be giving data. It needs to have a compounded data about you, about what you are talking about before you can make such estimates, such predictions. I hope you get me. Merci.
Thank you so much.
All right, you're welcome. So let's carry on. All right, so item tracking. So technique 4 is item tracking. Following every requirement, feature, and work item from the moment it's created all the way through to delivery. That's basically what item tracking is, making sure that you follow every requirement, feature, and work item from the moment it is created to the final point. Now, this sounds simple, but in reality, tracking is one of the biggest pain points in project management. The typical experience is a stakeholder sends an email asking, let's say, the item, check the comments, send an update email. Let's multiply that by 50 stakeholders and 200 items. And suddenly you are spending half your day just answering status questions. You understand? But AI-powered item tracking allows stakeholders and team members to just ask in plain English and get instant, accurate answers. Let's say you have an enterprise model at your organization that you use in your organization. You have several projects running. I know my office, my organization, we do have several projects. You log in your projects that are running, and then as and when wherever you reach in your project, every stage that you reach in your project, you update it. So it keeps a tracking record it gives you like a level where it shows you wherever you've got into. You also give it a time frame, so it shows you wherever you've got into and all that. Basically, that's what this one is talking about. But with that, whenever your boss or the leaders in the organization or stakeholders ask you, where have you got into? You have to now go back, check where you have got into, how the project is going, and now go and send the updates to the stakeholders. But with AI powered tracking, it allows stakeholders and team members to just ask in plain English and get instant, accurate answers. You understand? Let's say your company, your intranet in your organization, you can incorporate AI into it. Add an AI has access to your back data, your backlog, your back end, sorry. So it knows where you have gotten to in every state and in every project that you are embarking. By just asking that chat box or that AI, it automatically tells you where you've gotten to, what next you need to do, and then how far it will take you to complete the project. Let's give an example. So imagine you are connected to your company's project management tool through an AI interface in something we call Slack. In Slack, you can just type, "What's the status of feature X?" AI will instantly respond like, "Oh, maybe feature X is 75% complete. Development was finished last Tuesday and is currently in the Q&A testing. Based on the current testing velocity, the expected release date is Friday." And that's within 30 seconds, you've interacted with it, and something that would have used like 15 minutes email chain. It was now answered within 30 seconds. Instead of sending mail back and forth, being on calls, just telling somebody where you've got into. So another way to think about this is like having a personal assistant who has read every project document, every comment thread, every status update, and can answer any question about any item instantly. That's what AI powered tracking gives you. We've all, let me just give it a simple scenario. We've all bought something online before that has to be delivered to you. Or we've even ordered a ride hailing app like Uber, Bolt, Yango. For those in Ghana, you might know Yango. I don't know if it's in Nigeria as well, but Uber and Bolt are popular. So whenever you order a ride and it's coming to pick you, sometimes some of us can even order the ride. Maybe we are now freshening up, we are now getting ready to go. But then with Uber, before the rider, it gives you an update on the time that the estimated time that the rider is supposed to get to your location to come and pick you up. Sometimes you even hear a notification or hear a sound from your phone that tells you the rider is about 1 minute or is almost at your destination. You understand? Basically, that's what it does for your projects. It's telling you which stage you are at every point in time. Uber even has a feature where you can share your trip with a friend or a relative so that they can monitor you wherever you are. You understand? So that to ensure safety, sometimes maybe you don't feel like maybe this driver that is come to pick me, maybe after sitting in the car, you realize the mannerisms of this driver and you don't feel safe. So you can send it to your colleague or a friend, a loved one, to check up on you, whether you are getting to your destination safely and all that. You understand? All the sample, but in this context, is we use it to track your project management. Here in this case, you would rather have to go and ask it, where have you got into it? And it will give you, based on the fact that it is tracking every process in the project, it tells you instantly where you've got into, and even tell you when the estimated release date or closing of the project. The same way, when you pick an Uber or Bolt, it tells you the estimated time it will take you to get to your destination. The only thing with Uber and Bolt is it gives you the information even before asking it. It just pops up on your notification screen or on your phone. And basically that's the explanation. And I hope you all know that it is AI that is embedded in some of these apps in our Bolt and Uber that we are using. Same way when we buy stuff from online, you buy something from eBay, Amazon, you can track your item and know where it is, whether it has cleared customs, whether it is being delivered to you, and all that, whether it has been shipped, packaged. All these things are what some of these things might be what somebody automatically updating. But let's just imagine. Do you know how many parcels Amazon delivers in a year, in a day alone. Not somebody cannot just sit down and be typing all these information down. They have tools and equipment that will just automatically update you as and when the parcel goes through at every checkpoint. And that's what AI does. Make sure that you are updated. And some of these benefits of using this AI for this purpose is it gives you auto updates. It gives you the status changes automatically based on what's happening in connected tools. Once you are connected, it gives you what's happening. There are smart reminders. AI sends alerts when items are stuck or overdue. Maybe feature Y hasn't moved in 5 days. You understand? When a rider is supposed to come and pick you and it's taking too long, I'm sure sometimes you get a notification that rider is still static or hasn't moved. You understand? Some of them also have chat answers, so you get instant updates through conversational AI in tools like Slack or Teams. I hope you know that with Teams right now, you can ask questions and then it gives you updates on them on the status of your project or your it gives you updates on the status. So by just asking the questions, type like a normal AI, you can just ask the question and it will give you the information that you need. Some of the tools that we can recommend for this particular technique is Notion AI, which has smart tracking, documents linking, and then conversational updates. We also have Microsoft Copilot, which works inside Team and Outlook, where your team already communicates. You understand? And then we have Jira and ClickUp, where they have conversational AI interfaces for project tracking. I hope you all understood this technique. So let's look at our last and final technique, which is what we call the lessons learned. Lessons learned. So this is the retrospective. It is the practical, it's a practice of capturing what went well and what went badly at the end of a project so that you can improve in the future. So it is very, very retrospective. In theory, lessons learned is a fantastic idea, but in practice, it's often a single meeting at the very end of a project when everyone is exhausted and just wants it to be over. You understand? People share a few things they remember and then someone writes it in a document, and that document is probably never looked at again. But AI fundamentally transforms lessons learned by reading everything, not just what people remember in a tired end of project meeting. For instance, we all realize that this class that we are having is being recorded. At the end of the day, some of you even might ask for the recording, but you might not even go back to it. You understand? But what you can do is give the video to an AI platform, and then it will just summarize all the necessary information from it. And it will actually go through everything. If there were slides, if there were documents, if there were videos, it can go through everything. You can even transcribe this call as we speak. And after the transcription, you just give it to an AI and it will go through everything and give you the pain points and everything that's fundamental to the project that you embarked on. So AI, it does the same thing. It fundamentally transforms lessons learned from reading everything and not just what people remember in a tired end of project meeting. You understand? So let's say imagine you're a student and you've taken 10 exams across your degree. After each exam, you wrote a brief reflection in a journal. At the end of your degree, an AI reads all 10 journals and says, in 8 out of 10 exams, you performed significantly better when you started revision 2 weeks earlier than 1 week. For quantitative subjects, flashcards were 30% more effective than notes. You consistently underperformed in morning slots. That level of self-insight would normally take years or months of careful self-reflection, but AI delivers that in seconds. You understand? So if this call was being transcribed, it will take you, how long have we been on this call? About 2 hours or so. And then are you not going to read all that 2 hours? You might even be go like, I don't have time. That will be a lot. Some of them might even be inconsistent because of the pauses, the conversation. When you're reading a transcription, it's not it's not as understandable as you would hear the person actually, like I'm speaking right now. It will be difficult to understand the transcribed version than actually listening to the voice. But with AI, it can actually read what I talked about, give you insights, and then tell you what to do next time, and give you a proper self-reflection of what happened in that instance. And that's what AI helps to deliver as a business analyst. You understand? Basically, that is what it does. So some of the capabilities are pattern mining. So it can read all the past notes, all the meeting records and communications automatically. You understand? It gives you insight extractions. It can pull out recurring themes across multiple projects. And then what we call action suggestion. It can recommend a specific process or improvements for future projects. You understand? All right, sorry. Some of the tools that we can use for this particular um, technique is what Microsoft Copilot, like I mentioned. If this call was to be on Teams and we were transcribing it, you can then go back and use Microsoft Copilot, which is already a part of the whole suite, to go through the calls, the transcripts, the transcribe, the transcriptions, and then give you an insight on it. We have Firefly's AI, which is an AI meeting notes and pattern analysis across recorded meetings. It's an AI that checks meeting notes and pattern analysis across recorded meetings. We have Notion AI, which projects retrospective documentation and insight generation. And we have Claude, which is a which does deep project analysis. You feed it, all you have to do is feed it documents and ask for patterns, and it can do that for you. So at the end of the day, with this particular demo, at the end of the day, you can just tell moderator to give you the recording, if that is allowed, give you the recording for this class, and then for somebody, maybe you have a friend who probably wanted to be in this class but couldn't make it. So ask for the video, put it into an AI like Claude, and then it will pull out all the patterns and all the important aspects of this entire class, and then give it to the person so that the person can just go through it without having to go read the entire or watching the entire video or hearing the entire audio. So what you need to know about this technique is that AI finds patterns that humans might miss because it reads everything, not just what people remember, but and not just what's on the final answer. Because at the end, if I ask you what you remember from the word to word, what I said from the beginning to the end, it's been 2 hours. You might probably forget everything. Me myself, I can't even recall everything I've said word for word. But the AI will read everything, actually read everything, and then not just what we remember, and not just what's on the final slide. So every ticket, every comment, every meeting note, it will generate. That's why AI generated lessons learned are often 10 times more valuable than human generated ones from a single retrospective meeting. You understand? I hope you got it. That will be the last for this technique. And then before we do our recap for this particular side, is what do you all remember? Let's recap. I mean, tell me what you remember, what you got from this second section or this second part of this class. Somebody should tell me what they got. Let's recap what each and every aspect was about, or what do you remember from each and every aspect, what we've learned so far. Hello, anyone, please?
Please feel free to unmute your mic and give your key takeaway, please. Thank you so much.
Yes. All right. For me, let me just take you through. We've covered 5 AI-powered techniques for the prioritization and planning aspects. We talked about backlog management, which is which does what? Auto cleans. So the AI auto cleans and auto organizes your to-do lists. So that's what the backlog management does. We have the prioritization, which based on your method or principle that you want to use, whether the Moscow or the rice, AI scores and categorizes them in minutes and not hours. So based on your backlog, it can categorize them for you using your method, which is the Moscow method. We also learned about the estimation. So AI learns from your team's history to predict what efforts accurately. Sorry. We also did what? Item tracking. So AI answers status questions instantly through natural conversation. And finally, we did the lessons learned. So AI reads everything and extracts patterns that you would never spot manually. So what is the key takeaway for session 2? Well, my key takeaway is that AI transforms planning from painful manual processes into automatic, intelligent workflows that keep projects moving smoothly. The goal is simple: less time on administrative work and more time on the thinking and decision making. Basically, that's what it does. So finally, before we close, let's look at some of the challenges and best practices that we may encounter and how to handle them. So before we close out, I have to be real with you. Yes, AI is powerful, but it's not magic. There are real challenges that you face when you try to bring AI into your business analysis practice. So let's talk about at least 4 of them and how to handle each one. The first one is what we call the data quality. The data quality. So AI is only as smart as the data that you give it. So if you feed it garbage, you get garbage back. And I'm sure everybody knows the technical term, garbage in, garbage out. If your historical project data is incomplete, your AI estimation predictions will be inaccurate. So if your customer data is messy, your risk predictions will be off. So some of the solutions to ensure that you have better quality of data is to clean your data before AI analyzes it. This doesn't mean it has to be perfect, but it should be structured, consistent, and reasonably complete. You understand? So there shouldn't be potholes inside the data that you give the AI. So for example, think of it like a GPS. So let's say if you are going to let's say you are going to a specific location and you put in the wrong address, the wrong starting address, or the wrong drop-off address, you would obviously get a perfect 10 by 10 directions to the place, but then the destination is still wrong. You understand? If you put in the wrong address, obviously the map is what you give it. I mean, the GPS, you give it that specific address. So it will give you the right directions to the place. But that doesn't mean that where you are going is actually correct. It's still wrong. So AI is the same. It is very, very precise about following the data that you give it. It is very, very precise. The second challenge is don't trust blindly. AI can make mistakes. It can hallucinate. Yes. Meaning that it confidently states something that's completely wrong. And this is a known limitation of current AI systems. So The solution is always to add human judgment. Use AI as a starting point and not the final word. Review every significant AI output before acting on it. So another example is like having a very smart intern. I know some of you, I don't know if some of you in the law firm, those in the law practice, when you are a junior lawyer or an associate, a junior associate, you are the one who will do all the research, all the work. But at the end of the day, the senior associates are the ones who take upon the actual case. So the junior associate will do all the research, you do all the research quickly, and usually you are very enthusiastic about it because it's an avenue for you to enter to grow. But remember that the senior associate will still review their work before presenting it to the clients. So remember that you are the experienced analyst. Your judgment is what adds real value, and the AI is just what the intern that's doing all the heavy lifting for you. So don't trust blindly. Always go back to the final result and then review it before you use the data that you have been given. The second challenge is team resistance. The third challenge, sorry, is team resistance. So some team members and colleagues may feel threatened by AI. They worry it will take their jobs. And then this is a real human concern that we need to handle with empathy. You understand? And the solution is to frame AI as a tool that helps people, not replace them. So let's say if you are the boss and you're trying to streamline your organization's processes through an AI platform, you should, treat it with empathy. Let the people in your organization know that your subordinates or your employees know that the AI is not there to replace them, but to rather help them. It shows the colleagues that AI handles the tedious parts. You just have to tell them that AI is handling the tedious parts, and then which is the data cleaning, the data drafting, the document drafting, the numbers crunching, and all that, so that they would have to focus on the interesting, creative, and high value work. And that is not a threat. That is a gift. And finally, the challenge is start small. Start small. It can be overwhelming to think about changing all your processes at once. The best solution is to pick one technique this week. Maybe this year, this week, this month, and experiment with it. Just one. And then you build confidence and momentum from there. So AI is a partner. With one of the IBA best practices says that AI is a partner, not a replacement. The best results come from human expertise combined with AI capabilities. All right. And then what are some of the best practices and next steps? So let me leave you with a few best practices and then a challenge to go home with today. So the first one is always begin with the traditional Babok technique to understand the fundamentals. So don't skip the theory just because AI can automate it. Understand why you are doing something. Understanding why you're doing something makes you a far better analyst when you use AI to do it faster. So AI is just the accelerator, but the Babok is like the real engine, or the knowledge Babok provides is the real engine. Another best practice is use human in the loop. So review every AI output before using it. AI provides suggestions and drafts, but you make the final decision. And this is what we call the human in the loop. It's the gold standard for responsible AI use in professional settings. So your judgment, your accountability, your expertise, AI is your assistant and not your replacement. And then the third one is try one free tool this week. So don't wait. Yes, I start with ChatGPT, and I know most of us already do use AI, and because it's free. ChatGPT is free. If your organization also uses some AI like Jira, you can explore it. Pick one technique today and then experiment with it on a real or practice project this week. All right. Thank you very much. And then I think that'll be all for today. We've covered a lot of ground today. So 10 AI powered techniques across, we've done strategy and planning, we've done real life examples, and then we've done a whole lot. So yeah, thank you. Finally, I wanted to show you one AI, just go take you through the interface on how it works, and then I'm done. Let me take you through AHA AI. Is an AI that actually does. Let me share the screen with that one. Basically, everything that I talked about today, the AI has it. All right, so this is the interface of an AI. It's a paid platform, but you can have it, you can use it as a demo and try it. You can try it out. It has all the frameworks, methodologies in there. Hold on, it's loading. Because it's a demo, it might not have every document in there, but yeah. Okay, we use a Scrum. So basically what I wanted you to see is the activities, the prioritization. I hope you can all see the prioritization. So this platform allows you to what? To put in everything that you have your on your task. And then what this platform will do is what? It prioritizes it. It prioritizes it and gives you accurate what tracking, lets you know which ones are the progress of each task. This one says it's in progress. You understand? AHA AI is a project management AI tool that can help. You can incorporate if you are starting up a new organization and you need to incorporate it in your organization. Yes, it helps with that. It helps you. It has most of the features that we talked about today. Yeah, so you can take your time and then you go to the website and then AHA, it's called AHA AI, AHA. And then, yeah, go through, like I said, take one tool a day and then go through it and then learn something today, this week, and all that. All right. So that'll be the end of it all. Thank you very much for staying with me throughout this class today. If there are any questions, I'm open to questions to answer any question that you may have. Um, yes, so if you have any question, please go ahead and ask. Are there any questions for me, please? If you have any
Thank you so
suggestions,
much,
any inputs.
Francis. Oh,
Right.
hello? Oh, my network is bad.
All right, Mercy, you can go ahead.
Thank you so much, Francis. I don't know if anyone can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Thank you so much. Please, a round of applause to our trainer. And we are now in the Q&A session. Thank you so much. We have Cynthia on the call. We have Jemima, Kayode, Lavita, Mrs. Olaniron. We have Prince, Ketia, and we have Promise. Please feel free to open your mics and ask your question. For me, it's been a very exciting class. I really did not know about Moscow, but in the course of this session, I now understand what Moscow is really about, and attributing it to the business idea that I gave earlier, I really now understand what it means. So that's for me. Thank you so much, Francis. Really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Um, any other person? Why is the class so quiet? Any other person? Thank you. Okay, I would just take that silence as we all understand today's class, right? Please, can we at least appreciate our trainer? Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, Francis, I really want to say a very big thank you to you in today's class. Like I said earlier, I really understand now what it means for me to use Moscow for my business. Thank you. And not just only Moscow, I've learned a whole lot, and I'll still go back to this video. Thank you so, so much. And
Thank you.
everyone, thank you for
Welcome.
joining us today. For those who started with us, thank you so much for standing by up till now. Thank you. And please, we would implore you to fill up the feedback form. This will help us to improve in our service delivery. So we really need your honest feedback on today's class. Please, Titi, can you reshare the feedback link? Please, once you are done with that, just type in the chat room, done. Once you are done with the feedback, just type done. So while that is ongoing, please remember, as I said earlier, about our registration fee, which is 10,000 Naira. And if you're on the call and you are yet to register, please do well to. Titi, you can also drop the registration link for those of us who are just on the call and are yet to register. Also, please feel free to reach out to us on WhatsApp or on a phone call via the number that is in the chat room. All right. So also we are open to receive sponsorships from all well-meaning individuals and organizations. So if you feel like your organization can sponsor us, please do well to reach out to us on that number. Also sponsor the tuition of 2 or more students today through your donations. All right. You can still reach out to us on that number that is on the chat room, and we will send you the link where you can make your donations as well as the account number. Please also feel free to go into our website, explore, and see what programs we have. That is also going to be beneficial for you or your loved ones. Please follow us on all of our social media handles on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Let me also inform you that all of our programs are recorded, and the link is always sent to our WhatsApp group where you can access them on our YouTube channel. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time. And if there is any other announcement, we will definitely let you know in your WhatsApp group. Thank you, Kayode. The recording of this class will be sent to you in the WhatsApp group, as well as the material used for today's class. All right. Thank you so much. And from here, I would say I wish you a very beautiful weekend, and we will see you in our next class. Have a beautiful weekend. Bye for now. Thank you, Francis.
All right. Have a good weekend. Bye bye.
Bye.